So here's the thing. You'll be waking up this morning, maybe you're coming in from shift work. I find that whether it's you have to get up really early or a bit later, it's all just equally hard to me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what time of day I get up. I always find it hard.
I'm not one of these people that ever wake up and go, I feel great.
No, me
that was
neither.
A fantastic sleep. You know?
But that's because I think we've got chronic exhaustion. We've got years of exhaustion, so we're never actually feeling rested. That's my theory.
I think a lot of it depends on what you eat and what you drink as well. And sleeping is something we're going to talk about now, because this is Sleep Awareness Week, okay? And we all worry about, we don't get enough of it. So there's a survey that has happened between 30 and 59-year-olds, and it says that more than half of those people, right, are not getting recommended minimum sleep, and that really just messes up you, and it messes up your life, and it gives you stress and all sorts of things. So
let's speak now to our Scotland reporter, Davy Donaldson, who is out and about this morning, and this study was conducted, I think, in Scotland. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right. It was a Moray poll, but as Eamonn alluded to there, more than half the people not getting the recommended 7 hours sleep between 30 and 59 years old. So, yeah, huge problem in that age group. People just not feel they're not getting enough sleep, and that's impacting on their lives. And I think you said there that you suffer from exhaustion. I think we all do at some point or another. Certainly from my own point of view, I'm quite partial to little 30, 40-minute naps sometimes in the afternoons. Maybe that's the age I'm getting to, I don't know. But, it certainly can help. It can have a huge benefit, and it's certainly beneficial if you get the right amount of sleep. The problem is it doesn't look like everyone is, certainly in that age group, so that's a real problem. And what do you do about it? Well, Sleep Awareness Week is going to be looking at that, looking at sleep patterns, looking at medicine, looking at the impact of sleep on things like driving. So it's a good week. It's a good week to look at and find out, are you getting enough sleep? What can you do to make it better? Now, I know Alzheimer's Scotland have been involved in this, and there's been a brain health app introduced, so people can go on there and sort of log how many hours sleep they're getting and decide whether they're getting enough and what they can do about it. The other thing, I think that really two factors here. One, lockdown, of course, has probably had a huge impact on people working from home. Are they getting enough sleep? Are they stressing out because they're using their own house as an office? They're not separating the boundaries there between going to work and having their place of rest, which of course is their home. So that's a huge problem there. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I think they really need to look at certain factors. The other factor really for me is the technology. We're always on our phones, constantly on them, 24/7 a day, especially being a journalist, never off the phone, I'm told. So that's another thing that's going to impact on your sleep. And I certainly know that people have started to look at that. A lot of people have started to look at how often they're on the phone, how often they're on social media late at night before they go to sleep, and perhaps instead of using the phone, start using things like maybe reading a book instead, or just switching off from the content.
Davy, just one thing. I mean, you're up early this morning to do this report. Would you take a wee power nap during the day, or would you go back to bed, or what?
Sometimes perhaps, but no, usually I don't. I say maybe usually the back end of the day I'd probably have a little 30, 40-minute nap. It has been known, and those who know me will confirm that. So yeah, I have taken the odd nap just to catch up, and sometimes you feel absolutely great. Other times you think, was it beneficial?
Well, it's getting your body in touch with those natural rhythms when the sun comes up. Beautiful day like that. That's going to be doing you the world of good, Davy. Your circadian rhythm, I think. I'm a little armchair expert when it comes to sleep. We'll leave it there, Davy, and bring in the real experts in all of this. Sleep scientist Dr Sophie Bostock. Very good morning to you. So am I right then? Morning. Circadian rhythm's absolutely key. Getting up when the sun comes up, going to bed when the sun goes down, all that kind of jazz.
100%. We definitely have better quality sleep patterns when we follow a regular circadian rhythm. So that means waking up at dawn and hopefully going to sleep sort of sometime between 10 and 11. That seems to be a healthy sleep pattern. Of course, for a lot of us, that's just not possible. And if you work in TV or you work in shift work, then that's not always going to be accessible to you. But I think actually some of the things that Davy was talking about can definitely help. If you are thinking, I cannot keep my eyes open in the early afternoon, then a power nap is not a bad shout. But 15 to 20 minutes is probably what you want to aim for. Davy mentioned 30 to 40. If you sleep for more than half an hour, there's a chance that your you'll get into deep sleep. And when you try and wake yourself up, you get this thing called sleep inertia where you feel very groggy. So if you are going to have a bit of a nap in the afternoon to pep yourself up, I would keep it short.
OK, but that is so much easier said than done. And I say this as somebody who tries a nap, because you don't know exactly what point you're going to fall asleep. So if you set your alarm for 20 minutes, you could have just nodded off, which is a disaster. So this is something they need to come up with an app that tells you
I know what you mean,
exactly
timing
when.
and everything.
Yeah.
See, Doctor, I know people who, if they don't get the right sleep, are very grumpy. You know what I mean? And they can just ruin the day for everybody around them. I mean, I'm always cheery myself. I come into work with a spring in my step. I'm glad to see everyone, no matter how much sleep I've had or have not. But others, no, it can be poisonous with them.
There is a very close relationship between sleep and mental health, which most of us intuitively know, or at least we recognize that if we haven't had enough sleep, we tend to be a bit more irritable. But we're also more vulnerable to stress. And I think that's what a lot of people don't necessarily realize, that the brain uses a lack of sleep as a signal that we're in danger. And that means that it dials up your stress response, and we actually become more susceptible to feeling stressed. So you become more irritable because you're on edge more. You tend to feel more anxious. So sometimes you are not the best person at spotting the impact on your behavior. There's been plentiful studies which have found that actually your partner is probably much better at identifying the effects of sleep loss on you than you are. So ask around. It might be that your partner or your family are better at detecting the signs of sleep loss in you than you are in yourself.
Is it true that some people just need less sleep than others? I mean, I swear that I need 8 hours solid. And if I nap, it ruins my whole day. So I tend to avoid napping, really, unless it's, overwhelming. But I mean, I swear other people can do.
I sleep at business meetings.
Sometimes
I sleep watching myself on TV.
But some people can just live on no sleep, I swear.
Well, there is a lot of natural variation. So the overall recommendation for adults on average is that we need between 7 and 9 hours sleep to function at our best. So if you think you need 8, you could be absolutely spot on. But it is very much a bell-shaped curve. So you can kind of imagine that there's most people in that 7 to 9 hour bracket, but there will be people at the extremes. So we know that there are a number of short sleepers who carry a gene for short sleep. And maybe after 5 hours, they wake up feeling alert, and they don't need any more than that, but they are very unusual. But for every one of those, there's probably somebody else who actually really needs 9 to function at their best. And it's only through experimenting and kind of monitoring your sleep for a couple of weeks that you'll really find out where you sit. Some signs to look out for, though, as well as the irritability and just kind of general feeling fatigue that we've already mentioned. Craving caffeine or sugar to keep you going through the day, that's definitely a sign that you're not sleeping so well. Inability to concentrate, having a lie-in at the weekends. If you're finding that you need to sleep longer at the weekends, that's a really clear sign that you would benefit from a little bit more sleep during the week.
Fascinating talking to you. Thank you.
Is it over? I wanted to ask about 10 more questions now. Only because I'm just thinking, is there hidden caffeine in things that we wouldn't expect?
Look, that's not your problem. Your problem is she drinks 12 cups of coffee an hour.
I need it. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, and I suppose I drink lots of fizzy drinks.
Yeah, you do. And there's also chocolate. That's got it in, hasn't it?
Yeah, dark chocolate. And we do build up a tolerance to caffeine. So do be a bit cautious. Obviously, the more caffeine you have, the more your brain actually craves, and you get withdrawal effects. So if you start cutting down on the amount of caffeine, you actually start to feel fatigued and more headaches. So if you want to reduce that amount of caffeine, just do it gradually. Taper over a couple of weeks, maybe alternate between caffeinated and decaffeinated as you kind of switch down.
Good idea.
Well, Doctor, I'll leave you with this thought, or leave our viewers and listeners with this thought as well. How come I can lie awake at night and just can't sleep, can't sleep. Yet there are other times I can be watching a film on TV or the news or whatever, and the sound is up full blast, and I don't hear it. I'm out for the count, and I don't hear it. Yet other times, somebody breathes. They can hear a pin drop. Yeah.
Okay, this is very common, and it's actually really important. Those times that you're sitting in front of the TV and you're pretty fatigued, you are not trying to sleep. You're simply relaxed and you're letting your natural sleep process to take over. When you go and lie in bed, if you've had an experience, perhaps over weeks or months or even years, of having difficulty sleeping, your brain is immediately more anxious in bed. It's anxious about the consequences of not sleeping. It's anxious about the fact that you've only got 4, 5, 6 hours before you need to be out of bed again. So one way to break that is if you find yourself lying in bed quite often at night, not able to sleep, after 15 or 20 minutes, get out of bed. Go and do something else. Go and watch TV. Stop trying to sleep until you start to feel your eyelids getting heavy, and then get back into bed. What you've got to do is rebuild a positive sleep-bed connection so that you're only in bed when you're properly sleepy. And when you are lying there thinking, I can't sleep, that is not where you want to stay. And it might take a couple of weeks, but you can rebuild that positive bed-sleep connection.
Well, Doc, I'm going to do that. You've been great to talk to. I suppose when people say you've put me to sleep, that's a compliment to you. To anyone else, that would be an insult. But thank you. Thank you. That is Dr Sophie Bostock. She is a sleep scientist. And goodness me, so that's what we should be doing. We should be getting out of bed and doing things. Yeah. Not that we are in bed. I mean,
sounds like we're together.
You, all of us should, when your mind is going,
go and
get out of bed and do something else.
Yeah, go and read a book. We want to know your top tips on, what you do to try and fall asleep, how you get on with your sleep. We've had a few in already, some talking about having chronic pain and that keeping them awake, somebody with muscular dystrophy, Barnes, Kenneth, others suggesting things that we might have wrong with us, like sleep apnea, which I don't think is the case. But let us know your thoughts this morning, your top tips for getting off.